This report has Calgary Flames fans concerned, as many believe the team is in good hands in terms of management, but after the latest contract efficiency rankings have come out, many are skeptical. Obviously, there's one glaring contract, but do the Flames have a cap issue heading into the future? We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And let's talk about how we may have a cap issue. I know, it's kind of ridiculous. It's not what you'd ever think I'd be making a video on, but it's something that has been brought up recently. Now, we do have an excellent article to look at here from Rupert McDonald of the Hockey Writers, and he writes, Flames one of the worst positioned cap teams based on new model. Now, this article comes from August 12th, so by the time you're watching this, I have pre-recorded this video. It's actually from August 12th, but I mean, I'm away right now in Kelowna. Maybe you'll see a Rockets game in August, but no, I'm away right now, so this might be a little bit older, but it's still very interesting to look at because it goes well into the future. So let's dive in. All credit due to Mr. McDonald here. He writes, the Calgary Flames may have more than $15 million in cap space, but their entire salary cap situation may not be in as good of shape as you'd expect. Interesting. That cap space has come due to GM Craig Conroy shipping several veterans out of town in exchange for draft picks and prospects, and while it's certainly nice to have right now, their cap situation could become a problem once they are ready to truly compete for a Stanley Cup when it matters most. It's important in today's NHL to do your best to ensure you have no bad contracts on the books. While doing so is nearly impossible, the league's best teams are able to limit the number of bad deals while also having some bargain ones to help even things out. Kind of seems like whoever wins the cup just does cap circumvention, but of course they'll take that away once the Flames are ready. Anyway, unfortunately for the Flames, they don't have a ton of bargain deals on the books, which has resulted in them ranking very low in terms of contract efficient teams in the NHL based on a new model from The Athletic. And I will get into that model later in this video. We'll just kind of ride out this article first before getting into kind of the contract efficient model or contract efficiency model from The Athletic, because it is quite interesting to look at. Now, let's see here. So the Flames are in a rough cap situation, which is interesting. It's not what you'd think at all. But recently, Dom, crazy last name. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that. Lishicizn? Let's just call him Dom. So recently, Dom of The Athletic put out a ranking of the worst 10 contracts in the NHL. Unsurprisingly, Jonathan Huberdeau was not only on that list, but ranked in the top spot, as he does on every single list. The 32-year-old, of course, still has 6 seasons remaining on his contract that carries a cap hit of $10.5 million. So, from Dom, NHL Contract Efficiency Rankings 2025, which teams spend their money most wisely. That is what we'll be taking a look at, but essentially that's where this all stems from. Yes, the Jonathan Huberdeau contract sucks, but you wouldn't think it really messes up the whole cap situation, would it? So having that bad of a contract on the books can be detrimental to a team's success, though thankfully it hasn't had the worst impact on the Flames just yet, given that they are in a retooling stage. In the coming years, however, it could haunt them, and it's a big part of the reason as to why they are ranked 23rd of all 32 teams in the league in terms of contract efficiency. And saying in the coming years means when we have to sign some of the younger guys to bigger deals if we want to keep them around. Guys like Zane Parekh, guys like hopefully Dustin Wolf in the not too distant future gets a new contract, but guys like that you want to sign longer term. And the Flames have a lot of prospects already that we hope will be with the team. You have to sign them. There's players that haven't even been drafted yet that you'd hope would also want to stick around, that kind of thing. So it could become an issue. And the Huberdeau contract obviously doesn't make that any better. So Dom does praise the MacKenzie Weegar contract, which we'll get into, which he admits wasn't far off of being ranked a top 10 contract in the NHL. Pretty crazy. He also appears to be a big fan of the Matt Coronato extension, though neither deal is enough to make up for not just Huberdeau's contract, but an extension handed to Kevin Ball, which doesn't bode well with the analytics community. It's funny. Some lists show Kevin Ball's contract as one of the worst in the NHL, and some see it as could be one of the best, which is super interesting. I think the number at the time for an outsider was like, what the heck's going on here? He could be a perfect shutdown defenseman, so we'll, of course, have to see there. But this is what Dom has to say. That doesn't do enough to offset having Jonathan Huberdeau's league worst deal on the books and Kevin Ball's strange new deal on top of that, Dom wrote. If not for those two, the Flames might actually be in decent shape, but those two losses are too big to come back from and still be league average. And I'll show kind of where all the contracts on the Flames kind of rank. So while there's certainly use in analytics, you won't find many Flames fans who were surprised or upset to see Conroy give Ball that 6-year, $32.1 million extension this offseason. Perhaps the one risk of it is that he's only played one season in Calgary thus far, but based on how he looked in last season, even with the lack of offense, he's worth that $5.35 million tag. His strong defensive play paired with his 6'6" frame makes him an extremely valuable player, even if the analytics may not suggest so. So can we call Kevin Ball's contract that terrible? I wouldn't say so. As for Huberdeau, there's no logical argument to be had on whether or not his contract is a bad one. He's one of the game's highest paid players and is coming off a 62-point campaign, which was viewed by many as a bounce back season. Kind of sad. His $84 million extension simply hasn't worked out, and his $10.5 million cap hit essentially ensures that he is untradeable. So the Flames are essentially stuck with it. The Flames can't make any more mistakes is a great way to wrap up this article. So though Conroy inherited Huberdeau's ugly contract, it is now his job to deal with it. So we can't blame Conroy for it, but he has work to do. While the Flames can become a contender with that contract on the books, it can only be done if Conroy is to ensure he gives out good deals to anyone and everyone else needing them in the future. One or two more mistakes would handcuff the Flames and make it near impossible to compete for the duration of Huberdeau's deal. And that, it just kind of is true. You look at the teams that have won the cup lately, they don't have, a really terrible contract. They're built pretty dang well. And obviously there's more factors that are going against the Flames. Does everyone want to play here? With the taxes, with the weather and all that. It's tough work for Conroy, and the Huberdeau deal doesn't make it any better, but there can't be any more mistakes in order for the Flames to be true contenders and be cap compliant. But let's get into the original article where this all kind of stems from. And it does come from Dom, from The Athletic. So it's NHL contract efficiency rankings 2025, which teams spend their money most wisely. As we saw, the Flames clock in at 23rd in the league, so not fantastic. Last season they came in at 20th, which still had the Huberdeau contract, but interesting. I know this is really, really small. You might have to pause, zoom in, or you can zoom in while I'm blabbing away as per usual, but essentially the player names are on the left. The blue means it's a good contract. The red means it's a bad contract on the right. Not many blue ones. So Coronato, Klapka, Frost. Is that it for forwards? That's it for forwards. Those are the only blue contracts. Overall, the Flames a C+ in total. For the defenseman, MacKenzie Weegar's contract, as we said before, one of the best in the league. It's really high in the percentiles. So Weegs is up there, Hanley is up there, and Andersson's is still there because it is still a really good contract. And then obviously Wolf and Prosvetov both have good contracts. Wolf is only because it's still on his first contract, essentially. So it's automatically going to be a good one based off how he played last year. But that's a lot of red contracts in there, and obviously Huberdeau's the worst in the league, but there's some bad ones on there. If we just get into the explanation here from Dom, so he writes, MacKenzie Weegar has one of the best deals in hockey and wasn't far off the top 10 contracts list. Dustin Wolf, after establishing himself with a phenomenal rookie season, also creates a lot of surplus value for the Flames. Add the new Coronato deal to that, and the Flames have a solid base of deals to work with. So some pretty good ones in there. And obviously some of them signed by Conroy, some signed by Tree Living. So a little bit of a mix there. Boston Pizza Brad always getting involved in Flames talk. Unfortunately, that doesn't do enough to offset having Jonathan Huberdeau's league worst deal on the books. Thank you, Brad. And Kevin Ball's strange new deal on top of that. A Conroy deal. Interesting. If not for those two, the Flames might actually be in decent shape, but those two losses are too big to come back from and still be league average. So maybe the Flames aren't in as good of a cap situation as a lot of us think. I think a lot of this is ifs, ands, and buts, and it totally depends on what happens in the future sort of thing. I really don't think it's all that big of a deal, but some people were concerned reading that headline and a bit of the article as well, saying, maybe we're not in a great spot. Maybe Conroy isn't doing such a great job. Don't worry, it's not as bad as some of this suggests, but it is something definitely to keep an eye on as we progress forward. Now let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video, as we love to do here on the channel. Comes from, by the time you're watching this, a video from quite a while ago, but it's still relevant. So Marvin here says, I know summer is awesome, but I'm super excited it's almost over so we can start Flames training camp, and also even if Parekh has an average camp, give him a roster spot anyway so we can get his career going. And I agree. I love the summer, but when it comes to hockey, there's just nothing going on. Can't wait for training camp. Can't wait for Zane to impress and, of course, get his career going. So completely agree with you there, Marvin. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.